All right, you guys, so we're gonna start where we left off from yesterday. So as you could see, this first section of the photo is edited. There aren't any imperfections. It's smooth. There's no patterning effect seen. So we're gonna now move on to section 2. So I'm going to use the zoom tool down here, zoom in to the section 2, which is going to be the left side of the face around the eye, and we are gonna tackle the eye. So this part can seem a little bit intimidating, but we are gonna use 2 tools to tackle this. So first one we're gonna use is we're gonna use the spot healing brush, just like we talked about yesterday, and we're just gonna kind of go over some of the smaller wrinkles that are a little bit noticeable that we may want to tackle before we get into the darker and deeper wrinkles. So I am pretty happy with the way this part of the face looks. So we're gonna go ahead and start using that healing brush tool. So you right click where the spot healing brush is to activate the other retouching tools, and I'm gonna hit healing brush tool. There's a few things that we gotta make sure are correct in the options bar, which is gonna be right here, before we get into using the tool. So first you wanna start off by making sure that your hardness is up to 100%. I noticed a couple of you guys yesterday when we were using the spot healing brush did not have that, which left your editing to be not as strong and a little bit weak. So we wanna make sure that it is at 100%. We wanna make sure that our mode is at normal. Our source is going to be sampled, and then our sample is going to be current and below. And the reason why we want that is because we are currently on layer 1, and we want to also sample from the background layer. Therefore, we're going to be using current and below. So we're going to go ahead and make sure our brush size is going to be around the right size that we're going to want it. And then I'm going to go ahead and sample from around this section of the face. And the way we sample is we hold down Alt. It'll activate this little icon, which indicates that we are sampling. And then I'm just going to click. Once I do that, I have my sample, and I can go ahead and start editing whatever I need to edit. As you can notice, there's a little cross icon that we talked about yesterday in the tutorial that is indicating where we are sampling from. So if I were to sample from his eye, for example, the darker part of his eye, and I go like this, you could see that the eye is now underneath his eye. That's not what we want, you guys. So be very mindful of where you're sampling from and where that little cross is when you are using that sample section. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll actually sample from over here. Notice that I am sampling from different sections of the face so that there isn't that patterning effect happening. And I'm also trying to sample from similar parts of the face so that we are getting a similar texture to the skin. And I am just gonna go ahead and finish that off. I'm going to take a step back. If you double click on this hand tool right here, it'll bring you back to the full image where it fits on the screen. And I'm going to take a look and see if I need to adjust anything. I may go in and try and adjust right here. I'm not really loving that, so I'm actually going to do Control Z a few times and see what I need to do. So I'm gonna probably make my brush slightly bigger and go back over this. You guys wanna make sure that you guys are also doing this when you are editing your photo, because you do not, like for example, I just messed up there. You wanna make sure you are sampling from the right source, and that if you make a mistake, you fix it early on so that you don't get too far along in the project and have to go back. And then I'm going to repeat the steps that I just did earlier. And we probably don't want to sample from right there, so I'm going to sample a different part of the face and then go back and edit that. And there we have it. That is that section of the face done. The first section and the second section is done. Once you finish section 2 today, remember you want to get your feedback from your partner. You want to do your self-reflection, and if everything looks good, you could raise your hand, ask me for the go-ahead, and move on to section 3.